There we go. Welcome to the Lucky Ones podcast. I'm your host, Lucky Wood, and tonight we are joined by my ferocious, amazing co-host, Mad Marshall X, Amanda Marshall, and the brains, the brawn, the man behind the WSA phenomenon, Mr. Gregg Sharp. Welcome to our show.
I like the ferocious. I thought you were coming with me on that. I was like, yes. I'm like, here we go. That's a great. And then, not that Amanda's not ferocious. Don't get me wrong. I just like, oh, wow.
I thought it was going to you,
I don't
too.
mind, not at all.
I thought it was going to you too. I'm good.
Good.
Sore and tired.
Sore and tired. Yeah, it was a long weekend. That's for sure. But a good one, right? I mean,
yeah. It was
how did you feel about the rooms and the event and the temple?
Oh, okay. So first of all, we have shuttles that was coming from the hotel to the airport. That was beautiful. The location of the hotels were beautiful. The view, the marina. I kind of want to get some tours of the yachts, Room was comfortable. I don't even think I spent a lot of time in my room, honestly. I think we hung out at the main hotel, ate there, and I love the Harley shop. That location is just beautiful to me. But yeah, I mean, I thought too, like everything just was a lot smoother this year, I didn't feel like we were there all day as long. I think we ended like a couple hours earlier.
Well, it's interesting. Perception is always the key, right? And last year we ended at 6:30. This year we ended at 6:15, which, I really keep an eye on time. Like production for me is really a big thing for me. But I think because we went from 3 to 4 tables, we actually moved much more effectively. And then we had so many athletes on the pro side. I mean, that's by far our biggest pro tournament we've had ever. The 4 tables really came in to play and was a time effective value. So we were able to get to the women's, masters, and amateurs quickly, and then we're able to move through them quickly and bring back the pros. So all in all, I think we gained 15 minutes of time, start to finish, but we actually had 20% more athletes than we did last year, which was amazing, right? So, good solutions to good problems, and really the next step solution for us. And now that the season is over and, we go into the regional, layout phase, which we're going to start in February this year. Instead of in May, and we're adding about 4 or 5 more across the country. We anticipate, again, another increase in growth, but I think we're going to go to the max table that I feel comfortable, which will be 6 for pros next year and for women and masters. So I think next year we'll run 6 tables, and we'll have to talk to Harley. Ryan Johnson did a great job with 4 tables, and I wouldn't even ask him to go to 6. We'll bring in another bracket runner and for that. But I think if we go to 6 tables, we can accomplish adding another 20% of athletes, which I think we will, as well as stay on that timeline, which is so important for me. Believe it or not, we utilized 140 room nights at the Sheraton. So 70 rooms, 2 days. That's a lot of rooms. There's a lot of athletes. So I was very happy.
Yeah. I think 6 tables is going to be amazing because you're going to get more of the WAF IFA experience. So
I think so. I don't like to, a lot of people left it and said, oh, it felt like a world's tournament. And that's a great compliment. We're not a world's tournament. I don't position us to be a world title. Worlds are structured in a way that are more, so and I'll clarify this, because they don't offer a cash incentive to go to worlds. They're more based upon the amateur value of competition. That doesn't mean amateurs compete there. What it means is that there's no monetary value. So you get a true selection of pros, semi-pros, up and coming. They have the junior class, the senior class. They have multiple, weight classes there to sufficiently, handle anyone from as low as 145 in the men's to as high as a super heavyweight. For women, there's multiple classes. For masters, there's multiple classes. So I think the value of worlds and whether it's WAF or IFA is unique and really needed. But I think when it comes to a money tournament next year, we will see that money go up again. I think our destiny, and I want to say we're just at 90 pro athletes on the men's. We're at about 142 total athletes with women and amateurs as well. I really think we can eclipse the 120 to 130 mark with pros next year on the men's side. Ladies, I'm going to put the challenge out to you guys as two of my friends and ambassadors. I would love to figure out a way to get 12 to 16 women to come in. Masters are really a what I call a thank you class for the older guys. And I think the amateurs, this was a year where we started to see amateurs come back. I think last year our amateurs waned a little bit in the finals. This year, I want to say we had 44, 45 amateurs in the men's classes, which was a good start. So can we get to 200 athletes or better for our finals? I think so. I think that's where I think that's 2026 for us. That's our goal. We definitely want to give. We want to be able to place 200 rooms in San Diego. 100 room nights a day, and then put in place the extra 2 tables. And I think once we do that, we are certainly on the cusp of some bigger and better things.
I mean, I totally agree. Oh God, how to get women there more and more. It's almost like you're gonna have to taunt them. Like I'll taunt them. Like, listen, ladies, I love taking the money home, but realistically, if more have showed up, I doubt I would have. So let me genuinely earn it. Granted, I did earn second fairly well, but Michelle just knocked me out easy peasy. But I want true competition, and I want women to win the money. And when there's money on the table and you are offering an overall too with a payout, I don't know anybody that's really doing that right now. So there is a chance for women to grow, but again, we women have to want it just as much as the men do. So if we're not showing up, what are you supposed to do for us?
Well, and I could say that, again, another year has passed, and I even paid out the bonus to Michelle. So,
Yep.
I mean, she walked away with $1,100. I mean, that's not a bad day's work. And listen, you guys are very competitive, but I'm sure she would have loved to have pulled 5 or 6 more ladies just like you, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or more. And I always say that we'll run out of time and tables before we run out of Gregg's money. So don't ever think that you guys can't come in droves and come and grab it. And I mean that in a very positive way.
Yeah.
The sport grows well when we all grow together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we can capture that value that women want to come and compete and win, and win money as a tournament would distinguish us from others. That's the only way I can think about doing it. I mean, we're not going to go away from having women there. We just need to be able to get a number that comes in that we can start increasing that prize money and paying deeper and just some consistency. I think that would be great.
And you'll be able to have multiple classes. So we won't have to sit here and do the 154 and 155 plus. I can see you giving us a 176 plus.
Sure.
That would be awesome.
Would love to have I would love to have 4 women's weight classes. There would be no, and it makes for good production. Listen, the number 4 is really that sweet spot when it comes to production, because you can take 4 weight classes left and right and create 8 episodes. If you have 8 women in both, we can build a 30-minute episode for each and be able to give you guys your own airtime. Without it, it's very hard. I mean, the matches are fast. There's not enough build up inside the matches or enough content to create standalone episodes with that. So I'd love to be able to do it. I continue to be all ears, and I put it back out there to the women in the sport. Let's figure out how to make it worth your while. Hotel rooms are out there. We can incent you that way. Money is there, but at the end of the day, we want to get you there on that first weekend in November, which this year is November 7th, for that shameless plug, and move forward. And even this year, as you know, Amanda and Lucky, I went away from even qualifying for women and amateurs just to bring them in, right? Yeah. I mean, you didn't have to go to a regional because we only had 5 or 6 women total come to regionals this year. I mean, it doesn't set up well on a scheduling end, but I'm not giving up hope. I want to see it work, and certainly you two are catalysts to get it there.
Yeah, I'm going to keep pushing, because I did this in the interview with Linda. No matter where you go, if you have a little tip or something and you want women to grow, you go where the women are. So if Arizona State has a lot, Michigan has a lot, Washington has a state, there's a lot. Let's get you some sponsorship and let's go where the women are. The women are going to come to where some money is, so there's just so much potential here for us, and we can't complain about it if we don't come to it. So yes, ladies, come, no matter what, just come and pull your heart out. And what's crazy is we have women that are in the audience that look like arm wrestlers. Like, I was like, oh my God, is that her? Is that her? I'm serious. Biceps bigger than mine, biceps bigger than Michelle's. And I was like, holy crap, why aren't you pulling? It's almost like you want them just to get out of the audience and like, hey, please come pull. Just come pull. And
I think what I think hurts the development of the sport for women is there's not enough women in regions that can support each other. Meaning that, in San Diego, we have really one female arm wrestler. That's Erica Stevens, right? Mm-hmm. And she will come to a practice with the San Diego team. If you go to LA, there are maybe 2 or 3 women there. Again, it's hard for you guys to feel comfortable many times to have a great practice, although men will work with you and push you, right? But it's always good to be able to grip up with a hand that's more similar to yours and a length of arm that's going to be more similar to yours to be able to grow. And I think it's recruiting. Listen, I could tell you every day, even yesterday I was on a podcast and I shook the young lady's hand and she had a huge hand. I said, you need to be an arm wrestler. I said, you need to be an arm. And she was 125 pounds. She goes, I'm so small. I go, the size doesn't matter. I said, you have such a big hand. I go, you have a hand almost the size of mine. A very, very petite, very pretty woman, but with a very, very long hand. And I said, what do we need to do to get you there? She goes, oh, I might break my arm. And we hear all that all the time, right? But it's that constant ask. It's that constant ask that hopefully will get us there. And listen, like I said, I enjoy seeing you ladies every year, and certainly Michelle is a sweetheart, and I'd love to see 12, 15, 20 more women come in and I'd even put together a house season for women if I saw that there was a level of commitment that we could build a season off of, right? I mean, that's I think that would translate well out to the female viewer if they could see that there were 10 women who want to compete and win and do that reality side of it. It may be the endearing factor for women's arm wrestling. I don't know, but I'm willing to try. I mean, I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, I could think of 8 ladies right now that would make entertainment value so worth your while.
I agree. I got the real world drama.
Right.
Listen, those confessionals would be gold. I'd love to have you guys just sitting there and asking the right questions and then just have it come out. I mean, wow, these are winner chicken dinners, that's for sure.
Yeah. We wouldn't even need to serum.
That's the truth. Mm. I will say this too. What I do like about World Series of Arm Wrestling is the growth of teams that are coming. Like Team Mexico, what was it, 25 people?
Yeah.
And then Chaos, we only had 3 last year, and there was 4, 4, almost 5 of us, you know? So, and I know the goal for us is to have almost all our teammates there. So if you're really trying to get your team some highlight, I really think World Series of Arm Wrestling is where it's at.
I appreciate that. You know, it's interesting. I was I was not skeptical of Greg Brown's talent to bring people in. He is an amazing promoter. He is really a huge asset to the Mexican arm wrestling community. When he first contacted me about a month and a half ago, he said, "I have 40 guys that are coming." I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yeah, I have 40 guys because they bought 40 team shirts. They're coming." And I go, "Okay." And he goes, "How many rooms can I get?" I said, "Well, I mean, if you got 40 guys coming, I'm going to figure out a way to help you." And about 2 weeks out, the number became still a great number, but more of a realistic number, which was 24 to 26. And they had 24 athletes show up. And part of that, again, it goes back to trying to develop the sport. We immediately went out to Univision and KSD, CN50 Sports, and we sent out our press release and said, "Hey, guys, this is a great opportunity, not only for our Spanish Mexican community here in San Diego, but for sports in general in Mexico. If you guys come down and at least do an expose type piece." And they came right out, and we aired it today, the full run, which was almost 3 minutes. And the one comment that we all got, which was the fun one, was, "I didn't know Cody Merritt spoke Spanish." And that was like the big one. But fluent in Spanish. But I think the value is those guys left feeling like they were heroes. And that's what you want a team to leave feeling, right? And, I think South Carolina Chaos was a little bit underrepresented as a whole, not because they didn't want to come. Their fearless leader had a baby boy Monday night, right? So Adam, who is the team push, is the one. I think something fell in the production end. So around the corner, I was stacking it up to be clear of stuff here. All of a sudden, I heard something rumble over there. But Adam, congratulations to him. He had a child. Mama is fine. She's healthy. They're doing well. And 2 athletes had a plane issue. I got Rogers didn't show up. I think he was one of them, and one other guy who had committed to coming, but there was some sort of travel situation that didn't. And I think you're right, Amanda. I think the team aspect is also growing. Kansas City, they got those guys. Let me tell you something. Easton McCormick.
Yep, I was going to bring him up.
Easton McCormick is a beast, and I know he's got some super matches. And I'm not gonna make too many comments on my thoughts on them because there's always a value of why I say or why I didn't say. But let me tell you something. That young man at 19 years old, there's not a left-handed or right-handed 239 short of, Mikolas or maybe who else was in that mix on the 239, and that this kid doesn't compete or beat in North America right now, short of a world puller. Yep. Right? Short of a world puller. I mean, there's a lot of world, talents out there. He's not getting past Todd Hutchins, at this point, but on a regional, or we'll call it a national level, put him against anybody. I mean, that kid can just flat out pull. The sky's the limit for him.
Amen.
He's 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", long, big hand, big arm,
huge back.
And here's the thing: the scary thing is that if you look at him physically as a young man, he has very little muscle maturity, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean, as that young man continues to age, that tightness in his muscles, that connective tissue, all of that old man strength comes into play, right? Which is real in many aspects. That maturity level grows. He's destined to be a world level puller. He's if he can stay healthy and he can stay consistent and he can stay motivated, and he's got the team around him. I mean, you've got Wallace Dilly without giving away results. He did amazing. You've got guys who came in with Ryan Johnston and that team. You had Brent Rockers show up. You had Bill Logsdon show up. I think a little bit of the Kansas City crew stayed home because of Bo, and we were happy to be able to get Bo's checkout this week. It was great to be able to send one to him and to Angela Bath. I think that Paul Stevens, yeah, that kid was strong, Paul, man. That kid was a beast.
No spoilers, Paul.
I thought he was European when I first saw him, and I was like, someone said he's 19 years old. I was like, he looked like he ate another 19-year-old. He is enormous, but the sweetest kid. He's so sweet.
Yeah. There's not. Listen, and I know that you guys had said he's coming to pull Jody, I think, and left-handed, upcoming in a super match. I think Jody's going to have a very difficult day with that young man. I think he's taken on a competitor that's been under the radar up into WSA, and if anything, if what his performance did last weekend shows anything, there's not a lot of 239ers in this country that outside of world level pullers that this kid can't beat or give a one heck of a match to.
Yeah, his matches were probably one of my favorites to watch. It was just amazing. And then the respect given after winning or losing was it was astounding. I loved it. So there was such good, camaraderie at WSA. That's what I think I love about that too. You see people fighting like they are going to just kill each other. And then at the end of it, it is hugs and praise. And it's like, oh my God, you are amazing. You are the next. Who cares about me? Wow. To me, that's how Easton was treated. So. Yeah.
And I'll tell you, he without giving it away, he had some battles with Mikola, and there's another unknown talent in him. He now lives in Hawaii, and we were talking to him off the production end of it, and he doesn't train with anybody in Hawaii. Like, he just trains on his own with bands and weights. He doesn't have anyone to pull with where he's at. He's not gripping and ripping. He's just a natural talent. And if a young man like that could get, and of course, it all comes down to money, but if he could get to an organized practice twice a month, which is hard because, again, there's not a lot of pullers on Hawaii and on the island. So if you could get a kid like that to, let's say, the Armenian practice up in Van Nuys with Vaz and Vrez and David Egan and Ole and those guys, he would be a world value puller too. I mean, just a lot of talent there this time. I mean, I could go on and on and on. I mean, it's and here's the thing. I mean, there are guys that went 0-2, 0 and out. Justin Green went 0 and out, and Justin Green's a really accomplished 209er. And he came in loaded for bear. He went 2 and out. Brent Rockers came in. He was, a healed up Brent Rockers and did well. I certainly think that he wanted to do better. I think the absence of Adam Warinsky changed the dynamic. What's that?
I said Brent's lucky Adam didn't come.
Well, I think a guy like Adam changes the trajectory of a bracket. And what I mean by that is that he's a grinder, right? He's a guy that you can get locked into a big match with, and he can grind on you. And if you get one of the top pullers against Adam early enough, it may change that dynamic, right? I mean, it's we know how well Shark did. without giving it away. But, does Adam create a different dynamic if he gets, into the A bracket and can slow him down? Maybe it changes, right? I know, again, we those who were there and those who you've talked to, Lucky, I'm sure Amanda's told you, there's some really great upsets, that are going to be shown that people aren't going to believe. And that's the nature of tournament arm wrestling. That's why I like it. A lot of people ask me why I don't do super matches. And not to say that we won't, because we're going to be looking at the Champion Series coming up in 2026 as another value for us. But I just love the dynamic, man. You have to be on your A game to be able to get through a bracket of 30 guys or 30 women, if we can get to 30 women, but a bracket of 30 guys, all with, national to world talent, and be the undefeated or be the final guy on that table. That's an accomplishment, right? You're not training for one style, for a best of 5 or best of 7. You're training for 30 other high-end individuals that have all different hands, have all different size arms, have all different techniques, and bring a different dynamic each and every time you step to the table. You've got to
no
be. Say that again.
And you have no idea what will win.
Correct. Yeah, your light went off. Oh, there you're back. So yeah, it's, again, that's the reason why I think WSA works for us. We're different in that fact. I think now that we've got 4 seasons under our belt, we have a number of what we'll call champions of over the 4 seasons. We've got several top 5 that we can create a super match series to be a little bit more entertaining throughout the rest of the year, and keep consistency from months 1 through 12. We've got some bigger announcements coming up with some adjustments with some other leagues that are coming on into our fold, which we're excited about. I think that 2026, we have a good chance of having 200 athletes, and I can tell you, nothing will make me happier to make the decision to run a weekend event, combine it with some MMA, combine it with some strength and some fitness and some bodybuilding, and have a whole WSA weekend where, the giveaway is $500,000 or better. I think that's coming. And if I had to manifest it and put it out there, I would say certainly we're 2025, but by 2030, I would say WSA should be, a $500,000 prize money tournament every year. So
I can see this. You're getting more sponsorship. You're getting bigger sponsorship. We're getting more TV recognition. We have Radiate, we have Tubi, we have ESPN2, again, Univision. It just keeps stacking and getting better and better,
Yeah. And I'm not afraid to ask, right? I mean, a lot of people say, what's the secret sauce? And I ask. I mean, what's the worst that something can do? Someone could say no. I mean, we take no's all day long. We picked up Hard Body. That's Antonio Burton to my right, to this side with Hard Body Labs. They came on from the Mr. Olympia. I mean, literally, I spent 2 days in Vegas just asking, right? And we have the stats and the analytics now to be able to provide the benefit, right? With the ESPN2, ESPN HD, and ESPN Deportes, we've ran 200 times since we launched it back in June. That means we've had 200 play times. And the numbers that have come back to me are somewhere between 22 and 28 million views on that 30-minute segment. That's a lot of eyeballs. And when you have my cousins who are sitting in some bar in the middle of Florida, blowing me up on a Saturday at 5:00 while they're watching college football, and there's a TV and they've got World Series of Arm Wrestling, and they see their cousin, on the mic, and this organization out of nowhere in a bar full of 200, 250 people, those numbers start adding up. I mean, we are really on a growth pattern that I think is super unique for us as a sport, and I think it translates out to everybody, which to me is great. Like, I mean, yes, I may have more avenues of production distribution than others, but every eyeball that comes on WSA finds its way to other organizations, which is a plus and it's a benefit. And everybody wins that way. And that's how I like it. I like the fact that we grow.
I agree. So,
Okay.
so now we have just that 30-minute clip on ESPN2. When will season 3 be available on Tubi and Radiate?
Coming soon. It's being uploaded right now. So that's, I wanted to give it enough time. And actually, we're going to have the hour show, the 30-minute goes to an hour with ESPN this coming season. That we're going to get to them in March. I think they're going to start airing that earlier. So our deal with ESPN was that we couldn't release, the season in order to give them some exclusivity for the value of being on their station. Now we're past that mark, that earmark time. So, we are very, very anxious to get season 3 out. And then season 4, I mean, we're already in the edit phase, and, we've got the house that's going to come up. We got to figure out when we want to land that. We've got a couple of networks who are really excited to see what that product looks like, to the point where they may actually invest in developing it on a bigger scale, which is cool, right? I mean, those are all cool things. So pretty happy, pretty excited. I always try to stay even keeled. I like to use the word small steps, right?
Yep.
But I think that that's the real factor in it. There's no huge leap for us. We just have to consistently grow. If it's 2%, 3%, this year we had about a 20%, with athletes, we want to stay consistent. The worst thing we can do is flatline. The best thing we can do is continue to grow and continue to offer more for people to enjoy.
Yeah, everything's just going to keep going up as far as I can see, and I'll just keep enticing women to come so we can get classes and they can get money and they can get recognition, and hopefully it gets them to their next level of competition, because again, WSA, you have all these athletes coming from amateur to pros, and they are standing out left and right. And like you said, a lot of upsets, a lot of wow. People are getting more competition with each other. So it's not coming and just getting the same people. You're getting some people you haven't seen yet, and they are just shining. So it was great. It really was.
Yeah,
So
nothing.
No, I'm really mad I didn't get a chance to bust Michelle's wrist back. I owe her on the left hand.
yeah,
Well,
I was mad too with that. I got a taste with her at WAF, but I went in with a different mindset, and I'm like, I just ref grip. I can't do nothing with the ref grip with her. So I'm gonna have to go up there and pull with her a little bit so I can learn how to beat her. I will beat her before I die.
that's one of the things that kind of sets us apart, and some like and some don't. And I get both sides of it. People ask me, well, why do you do the ref grip? And it's completely for production value. It has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that if I allow two competitors 30 seconds to a minute to try to hand jockey, and then have to get them settled down, and then have to get their hands set, you're now taking that timeline, and you're going to add at least another 2 hours worth of table time. And so we went with that process of the set grip for that simple reason. We're able to turn more matches front to back in that allotted time that I've given, that 4.5 to 5.5 hour window. If we went with anything other than that, it would be a long day. Listen, we may still have been pulling right now.
I agree. I think ref grip works. Everybody knows it by now. Everybody knows the rules. You're not going in surprised yet, are we? So, I mean, you can't really complain about something that's been this way. So I don't mind it at all. I know the rules. Half the time, the rules are explained, they're not followed through, or they're like put together from two different types of things, and it's chaos. So no, I like set rules from beginning to end, doesn't change. And if it did, you would tell us like months ahead of time,
Yeah.
So yeah. Mm-mm-mm.
So what's on the agenda for you two ladies coming up competition wise? I know that you're here to talk to me, but let's talk to you. When's the next competition for you, Lucky? When are you back on the table?
I am officially back on the table December 6th as of right now. Actually, Michelle and James were kind enough to host the Into the Woods event that Kimberly Wood, Scarlett Wood, and myself, Lucky Wood, were doing a super match round robin, right and left hand. So
Very, very cool. That's awesome.
I'm
And how
excited.
about you? How about you, Amanda? Now that you're keeled up and back in the grind, when's the next match for you?
Mine's going to be a little down the road, so I will not be pulling again, as far as I know, until April. I was invited to Queen of the Table all female round robin in Canada, so
Nice.
that's going to be my first round robin. I'm actually going to be coming in at a lower weight than I already am, so I'm really going to bite some talent and see more and more where I land. You know.
Well, I was actually hoping that you would say, aren't we having a regional in South Carolina in February to kick
I was
off the
you
season?
know what? Before you said that, I was like, well, okay, we're going to March, so where are we starting first? So and
I,
that will always be a I don't care where I'm pulling. I'll see you there.
Yeah, so the value of Adam settling in South Carolina with the new baby, being a dad, being getting that whole experience. And we looked at coming into season 5 and starting off in South Carolina. So arm wrestling is not the number one priority right now for him, and nor would I ever inject it to become an answer today. But at the end of the month, at the end of November, we're gonna make a few calls and let's see if we can lock in a date, because I know he wants to do the South Carolina tournament, which he does every year early in the spring. So I think that's going to be our first kickoff regional.
Yeah.
We'll start filling in the March and the April, and then we're back at the Baja King of Baja with Gregg Brown in May. We'll be back in Utah in May. We're going to probably look at Chicago a little bit differently this year. Travis is a great friend and certainly a mainstay in the sport. I think he had a little bit of trouble putting together his event in Chicago in terms of participation. I don't know if the week really worked or not. I know there was some Chicago football value to it, but I think there's a large constituency of really, really good pullers in that Chicago area that I'd like to tap into. I really think that there's a win there. And we're also super excited that New York will actually be in 2 regionals in New York. In May, we will be at the Jason Vale strap tournament. Mike Bisman, he's going to host that tournament. That will be one of our regionals. And then we'll be back at the New York States in September with James and Michelle for a second regional. So we'll have actually 2 regionals in the New York area, one in early or mid-spring, May, and then one in September. We'll have the Riverside Regional, as always, the Kansas City Regional. The North Carolina Regional is close to my heart simply because my son is there. He deploys to Norway in January 3rd or 4th, and he's gone just in time to come back for that regional time frame. So we'll be there. And then, Mike Moody did a great job in Florida. He really put together a nice tournament. We had, as we know, several winners come out of that area, which was great. And, the hardest thing, and this is our commitment, it's really the hardest thing that we've got to get better as an organization. We are going to go out between myself, Don, Ryan, and whomever that other Mike person, and we're going to take some linguistic classes, because I apologize to all of those athletes that came from countries that have multiple consonants and vowels in their first and last name.
Right.
I don't think we did. If we had to grade ourselves, we did A+ work in butchering names. I make light of it, but I think it's I think part of the sport is respect and doing better. You know, I still can't say, yes, Kaftin Gashinsky, the 176ers, Svetlana. Listen, he said it to me 6 or 7 times. They just call me the master. I said, oh, that's perfect. I can work with the master, right? That I can remember. But I think that we, as a whole, this tournament here really showed our international value by having so many different countries represented. We had Russians there. Farid was there. We had the Armenians, the Ukrainians. We had our team from Mexico. We had a lot of South American pullers who came up individually. Australia, I think, is our next big push to get some Australian pullers over here. I've been working with Dave and with Matt quite consistently, albeit that we lost an opportunity this year. And we have to really work on the dynamic of their super match or round robin versus tournament regional qualifying. And I'd like to get to Canada too. I mean, I'm going to reach out to Ian and to JJ. Great guys. Listen, I think those guys are onto something with that new table. I really think those are two innovators of the sport. And they're just quality people. I haven't gotten a chance to say hi to JJ yet. I've met Ian a couple of times throughout the years, but I'd like to figure out a way to incorporate something from Canada that can get maybe a dozen to 2 Canadian pullers out here to San Diego next year. Wouldn't it be great if we had 20 different countries represented outside of the U.S. and some of the best pro tournament arm wrestlers there is out there? I mean, that's a huge win for us, and I think it's a huge win for the sport, which is the most important thing.
I agree. I think reaching out to Canada with JJ and the women are really loving what also Mac is doing for them.
Yeah.
I think that will really pull some encouragement because we have Gina, we have Maddie. If we could get Sarah Wilson and like Heidi and just Jocelyn to come and peek. Hey girls, even maybe come ref, because we had Sarah Latona, great refing. So you've got female representation there as well.
Right.
I really think that could give the women a little, hey, come on.
So you bring up an interesting thing.
But JJ is my favorite.
Are they referees up there? Are they actually?
Yeah, they're very high certified.
Yeah,
nice.
I believe Jocelyn and Sarah.
Heidi
else?
I don't think Heidi is, but Courtney is.
Know, yeah.
Courtney. So it's Courtney, Heidi, and Sarah Wilson.
Do me a favor. Those women that are listening to this, if those women you just mentioned, please drop me a line. I'd love to incorporate you into some events as referees, certainly as pullers. That would be the icing on the cake if we can get you competing down here. But if there's an opportunity to integrate some additional referees in there, because it's a long day. I mean, we had eight, real troopers on the table. But if we can, next year, if we can find 12, and have some sort of rotational value, that works. And it was good and bad timing. I mean, Bill Collins is usually someone who comes down and works with us consistently on finals, but he had East versus West. Some of our refs that normally have worked with us, that we would have had a little bit more comfort zone of additional people there to help rotate, have kids, Halloween. Nothing hurt more, I think, for us as a value is that November 1st was the first Saturday this year, right? I mean, who would have thought, who would have really thought that, the first Saturday of the month happened to be combined on Halloween and hurt WSA because, listen, I can't fault an arm wrestler, woman or man who wants to be at Halloween with their kids, right? I mean, that's part of being a parent. It's part of being a good parent, right? Next year we won't have this problem. So, November 7th is far enough away from Dios de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead, which is November 1, and Halloween, and we should be fine. anybody who's saying they can't come because of Halloween only ate too much Halloween candy. Don't want to pull up a weight class.
Oh, they had a table of Halloween candy there, Lucky. They had a table of it.
I love it.
And
well,
here's
hopefully my sister won't get married again next year, so I'll be able to.
Listen, those are all, life problems aren't problems, right? Life problems are memories. You can't. We're not a sport that commands the value of finance that would make someone even remotely make a decision on whether or not they want to come to WSA or not. I mean, I would lose 100 times out of 100, and that's okay because that's what it should be, right? But I think that when we get into those opportunities where we don't have those life moments interjecting, I think we can sufficiently, incent people these days and moving forward, to be able to come. I mean, listen, all you got to do is get to a regional. And then if you win your weight class, I mean, think about it. We might have 14, 15 regionals this year, 8 winners of weight classes, 8 rooms per regional. That's 120 room nights a night for 240 rooms. That's just on the pro class. That's a lot of athletes. That's a lot of talent coming in that will absolutely change how you look at this sport. And I think whoever wins, you have to look at him as really the premier arm wrestler in that weight class, as a whole until that next big tournament comes around. I know a lot of people like the super match ends, but again, training to pull one person and peak with your supplements for that right time to be on that table, twice a year or once a year is still work, but do it against 29 other guys and luck of the draw, and now you really become, in my opinion, the best arm wrestler, on that end, and on money end. So
I agree. And then having the overalls is wonderful. I really like that aspect for that extra money grab. I think that really, that like having that extra money in there really is enticing to also see if an athlete is even thinking about going up a class for weight, So I love that.
So the men's bonus goes to 6,000 next year. So that goes to 6. But we paid the women's and we paid the masters, right? So there's no rollover. But the men's, without giving it away, we didn't have a left and a right be the same person, which is the first time that's happened in 4 seasons. The 4th season being that. So the $3,000 left-right bonus rolls over to next year. So it's 6,000. So I would say comfortably, and I haven't put out the totals yet for what we're going to put out in cash, but I would imagine that by the time I'm done figuring that out and getting the commitments back from sponsors, someone could potentially walk away with 20,000 in cash instead of 15 this year. So I don't know very many tournaments where you've got pullers that walk away with $20,000 in their pocket if they're good enough to win left, right, and both overalls. That's I would think that some of those world side guys might want to think about coming and putting their elbow back down and stop the super match madness and see if they can survive a 30-man tournament bracket. So I'd love to be able to see that.
Erica's getting knee surgery. So Erica, we missed her because she's getting surgery here in about less than a month. Oh, well, that sucks. And I think Stephanie was out. She's got foot surgery coming. I was really bummed that Merlene couldn't make it because she finally did her first qualifier. And I think she would be a huge asset out there. But again, we have women who are single parents, so I think as the lucky ones, we keep trying to put it out there. Like, if you are struggling to get somewhere, we are really doing our best to try to get sponsorship, even if it's just to pay your entry fee or help you. So, like, we got to know, because we have people out here that are helping us help you and want to see women grow. So, ladies, let us know. See, because then let Gregg know, because the more we go, the more Gregg helps us. So.
I'm going to say something, and I'm going to interject this because Paul's made a couple comments. I want to tell you the quality of people that are in the arm wrestling community, and Erica and Paul are huge supporters of WSA, and I say that with a lot of friendship and love because they have been so supportive. But Paul Stevens, albeit he may not have pulled to where he wanted to this year, he is one of those guys that goes out of his way to help. There has never been a regional or a finals or a reality show or anything that I've ever put out there on the table that gentleman hasn't stepped up as a super class person, and just a classy person in general, to be able to say, Greg, what do you need? How can I help you? What can I do? He is always the first, and so is Erica when it comes to stuff like that. And they epitomize what's great about this sport. It's a Friday night, and they're here watching your podcast, supporting you guys, certainly listening to what I have to say, albeit they probably know what I was going to say anyway in many ways because they're always around. But that's the quality of people that Paul and Erica are, and that's why I love the sport so much, because walking away and shaking 24 hands of the Mexican arm wrestling team, each one of them wanting to take a picture. I'm nothing special. I mean, I'm just a guy that's put together a tournament that I've been lucky enough to be able to bind a couple of key components together, and we can be sustainable. But to have those quality people, the hugs, the handshakes, it could be, the talking about families, knowing when people are going to weddings, knowing when they're having children, that's what makes the sport unique. That's the real plus and blessing for me, is that kind of interaction that makes it great. And again, I love shouting out Paul because he does so much behind the scenes, but truly is a guy that it's Friday night and he's taking the time to support arm wrestling by being on the podcast and sending questions and being a proponent. That makes it real. That makes me want to do better.
Agree.
Agree. We thank you, Paul.
Or as I call him, Mr. Erica's husband.
It's a tough dynamic because, on a personal end, Paul was a great wrestler. I believe he wrestled not only high school, but collegiately. And then you've got Erica, who is, at one point was a very, very competitive, jiu-jitsu practitioner, and would still be, I would say, albeit I don't keep up with her on a jiu-jitsu end as a competitor. She was really a very highly respected and still is jiu-jitsu athlete. And I know that not from her being in arm wrestling, but I actually have known Erica for probably close to 20 years. As funny as that may sound, when I owned Escondido Sport and Fitness, she was from Escondido, and we would have classes when I turned ESF into Explode Fights series. We had some of the great jiu-jitsu instructors come through. We had a big MMA team. We had a lot of guys in the UFC. But we were very much in tune with the world of jiu-jitsu. So she's a tough competitor. And I would not want to be Paul to forget to put down the seat or forget to take out the garbage, because he might be tapping out, and she might forget what a tap feels like, and he may go to sleep. So that's a tough dynamic there. But just great people. I really enjoy them.
Okay, so with this final year coming, well, not final year, this next year coming up, do you think we'll be staying at the same hotels? Do you foresee different ones?
No, I think we found the right mix, right? I mean, the quality of the room in terms of comfortability level, the value of the view. I think what we may see next year is many of the athletes wanting to make it a longer weekend because of the experience. I think the level of amenities there, having the pools, having the restaurants, not to take away from Harley at all. I think we will explore doing early weigh-ins on Friday at the hotel, at the main side of the hotel, at one of the restaurants. We're going to explore that, not because Harley isn't a great host for us, but they stay open an extra 2.5 hours on a Friday night for us to be able to hold the weigh-ins. They're done at 6:00, and they do that out of friendship to me. So we may look to move our weigh-ins over to the Sheraton that Friday night. It's easy from the airport.
Plenty of space.
Yeah, plenty of space.
Everybody
And
can eat faster right there, and the restaurants are great. I think we had like 5 different restaurants, so I agree.
the only thing that you don't get there, and it's okay because the nightlife downtown in San Diego is so much to experience, is that I would still love and continue to do the after party downtown. We actually had a very good number of people come down to the Double Deuce. Nothing is better than watching drunk men and women try to ride the bull, get thrown off, that's entertaining in itself. But I think the value of the gas lamp is something that people, other than the expense of what alcohol is down there, is something that people enjoy, getting around. And, on a flip side, if the nightlife changed and was more centered towards Pacific Beach, which there is nightlife in Pacific Beach, don't get me wrong, it's just more of a college crowd. Beach life and downtown life are two different dynamics. One is, a very affluent, very, there you go. See, just said it. She is. She definitely is. The downtown is, you put on a shirt, you put on a pair of loafers or shoes, you're dressed to impress. That's always a scene, right? But the PB is beach life, right? I mean, that's where the old people and the young people go. Guys and older people like me can go with a t-shirt and a hat, and then you've got all of these, 22-year-old, 21-year-olds that are all in their frat and sorority letters, and they're partying. It's just beach life and downtown life are two completely different dynamics. But I think that you can get beach life just about anywhere, that kind of local, tavern feel. But to be able to go downtown and put on a shirt, put on a nice outfit, and kind of dabble around, and I think that's fun too, right? I mean, San Diego's a great place, and the weather, with the exception of 6 days a year when it rains, is usually 71 and sunny every day.
Oh, the weather was beautiful. It was perfect that weekend. Yeah.
So, well, ladies, any questions of me? I mean, I'm ready. I use Chat GPT. I wrote it on my hand. Here are all the answers. Anything other than giving away the seasons or the house or anything? Any hot topic questions you guys want to hit me with?
I mean, I'm really curious about the house, but I know a couple people who are on there. They're really good at keeping hush hush because we were like, what's it? And I was like, he can't tell you contract. I bet you can't say nothing. All we heard was it was really amazing, and I had a really good time. So they're excited. So, but they're doing good. They're doing really good keeping tight lip because we were grilling them, and they're like, yeah.
They learn from the best. I mean, I must have taken hundreds of calls leading up to that, and I said, listen, I am the guy that if you ever want to, not that you ever do, I'm not putting it out there, don't splice this the wrong way, but if you ever wanted to rob a bank and somebody to keep their mouth shut, I would be that guy, right? I mean, I'm not going to say anything to anybody, and that's actually a good fact because Joey Merlino had me on a podcast, Joey Merlino podcast, Skinny Joe and Little Snuff. And one of the criterias of their podcast is that they actually do a background check on you to make sure you're not a rat. So, literally, I mean, I got a call from the handler, and they go, "Okay, I was already in Boca, and they're they go, okay, you're clear for today. And I go, why? They go, wow, we did background check to make sure that you are not a rat. And I go, well, I could have told you that. They said, well, you can tell us anything, right? But they literally, and Joey's got, that's a part of his podcast and his way of life is that he has been, he was in whatever life he was in, but did his time and never put anybody, to the other side because he didn't believe that what he was doing, if he did anything at all, would warrant putting somebody else out there. So, I mean, he's very vocal in that aspect. And I applaud him for that. I think there's a lot of integrity with him. And listen, I'm not condoning the lifestyle of the mob, and certainly he's a repeated, leader of the Philadelphia mob back in the day. But again, I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying what he is or was. He did a little bit of time for gambling, and never turned anybody else over. Did his time. He's out. He's doing great. So yeah, you're going to get quiet lips from me. There's no way around it. So that's one of the great things about World Series of Arm Wrestling. Just to say this, it's opened the doors to be able to put the sport in very unique places. I mean, honestly, who would think that the reputed, not alleged, or whatever the word you want to say, leader of the Philadelphia mob at one point would have the World Series of Arm Wrestling on their podcast, right?
Right.
I mean, that's pretty cool, right? I was on a podcast yesterday. I know the stories there. I'm gonna post it. I'm sure you guys are gonna put together a story to tag me. But I was on the Rachel McCord podcast yesterday. She's a very famous podcaster out here. Yeah, she wanted to talk about Radiant, and then we ended up talking about World Series of Arm Wrestling. And so I love to introduce what we do every chance I get. I think that we build fans by building value in the meet and the greet and how we present ourselves, and that's the one plus I love as much as anything else is getting out there and telling people how wonderful you guys are and the athletes are, and how much it means to us as an organization to have more people want to click and like and follow. Now, what I am going to say is there's a lot of people that don't realize that there's a button on Facebook and social media and Instagram that says like. And the reason I say that is I can post a story and there's a little tab that says insight, right? So when I post something and it says that 4,000 or 5,000 people viewed that story, and I look and I only see 50 likes, I'm like, guys, all you got to do is press the like button and we grow the community a little bit, right? Now, if I post a story of a pretty woman, in a WSA shirt, in a seductive pose, I can tell you those stories go from 150, 200 views to 2,000 views or more with a lot of hearts. And I swear to you, if you guys out there, and it's guys, listen, it's not the women, it's the guys. I'm going to start screenshotting all those hearts and I'm going to put you on blast because that's not right. You can put a heart there. I'm not, any way, shape or form going to, be any certain way if you put a thumbs up or a smile or a flame. But man, there's insights on this stuff, guys. Remember, I'm watching. Or I even say social media people that are watching, and we know we're keeping an eye on you. So,
all right. So, hot seat question for you, because you challenged it or whatnot. Sure. So, what is a dream match that you want to see? That would either be a rematch or like two people, anybody in the sport, retired, current, whoever, that you would want to see at some point. Best of 5.
Best of 5, not in WSA. Best of 5.
Correct.
I mean, we've seen so many great matches with John Brzenk towards the end of his prime in super match ways. So, I mean, John is always, the go-to guy when you start to talk about dream matchups, right? We still live in the Devon timeline. He's still relevant to the point where there's only one arm wrestler on the planet that we know of that has come out of anywhere, and that's Levon. If Levon wasn't in the equation, Devin would be the greatest right now, right? I mean, there's only one person there that can beat him, and I still think that there's a huge there's a growing differential between Levon and Devin, and that's going to continue to, I think, expand as Levon continues to get stronger. I still think he's got some growth factor there. I think Devin is on the wrong side of age, not on the wrong side of talent, but I think that as we age, there are certain things that even the great John Brzenk started to feel, the back injuries, shoulder injuries. I think those things eventually catch up. After Devin, and I think that Devin has spaced out, as a value, I think it has spaced out what's below him too. I mean, there's Levon, there's Devin, and then there's everyone else. And the everyone else is a mixture of Michael Todd's, Jerry Cataratz, the Vitalis, the Gennadis, all of those guys that are all in that, let's call it A level. And Devin is A plus, and Levon is A plus plus. Right. They're all in that A level of pulling. I don't know. I think East versus West has done a great job of mixing it up in many aspects of getting some different talent there. What would be the dream match?
Just go with the female then. Who cares about the men?
I'm going to tell you what my dream match would be. In a hypothetical world, okay, and this athlete couldn't be competitive today, but if we could take Scott Norton, prime Scott Norton, the guy who walked through John, walked through Cleve, walked through Richard Lupke's, walked through everybody, right. And we could put him against a prime Levon. I think Scott Norton in his prime is on that same level. I think Scott Norton, for that very short period of time, could have and probably would have beaten Devin. I think he was that good. I think the real reason he didn't stay in the sport obviously was money. He got a contract to go but professional wrestle in Japan. And he took advantage of it. I think that's a dream match. I think the other one is Denis Saplinkov. Now again, I'm only making a judgment based upon optics. Right. And the optics for me is that Denis had a stroke. Okay. Now they said he had a kidney disease or something, but the physical deterioration and the impairments that he visually looked like, and I had a father who had a very bad stroke, and so I know a little bit about that as a layman. I don't know about it as a medical practitioner. I'm not trying to say that I have any kind of experience in that, but I think that he had something a bit more than what he led on to. But before that happened, I think that Denis Saplinkov, again, was one of those guys that was untouchable. He might have been, if I put three people together that I think, one who's in his prime right now with Levon, and I think Levon is the strongest and the best arm wrestler that we've seen in consistent pattern in my generation, or I should say in the last 10 years of arm wrestling. And you could take two guys from the past at their prime that were superior in dominance. I think Scott Norton and I think Denis Saplinkov. If we could do any one of those three or all three of those into some sort of super match series, I think that's the dream matchup. I really do. So, but that's my opinion.
Now, who's the dream matchup for ladies?
Okay, that's a great question. So if you look at yesteryear of the best women's arm wrestler, you go back to Lori Cole, right?
Mhm.
Lori was the GOAT, if you will, of women's arm wrestling in the late 70s, early 80s, right? And matter of fact, a lot of rules in arm wrestling changed because of the style. I mean, she had that rocking style, right? She was very, very well known for rocking style and that timing, and she was extremely explosive. And I think if you couple that, man, there are so many strong women today. There are real, and it's hard to keep up with them. Certainly, Gabby was very, very dominant for. If there was a goat of arm wrestling for a female side, maybe Gabby would be that person because of her longevity.
For sure.
But you know, the funny thing is that weight plays a big difference in women's arm wrestling, more so than in men's arm wrestling. I think, as we could say, after watching last weekend live and not giving it away, not always does the biggest guy win, right? However, I think with women and strength and technique, I think size plays in. I think Gabby, I don't think Lori Cole would do well in her prime against Gabby because of the weight difference. And Gabby is super strong. I think Lori was in a timeline where she had an advantage of the being new women being more new in the sport, and in a timeline where women's fitness was not necessarily a high priority, and she was the anomaly, right? She really took fitness and strength to the next level, and she was very conscientious of her well-being and her physical strength. Nowadays, all women are in the gym, especially when they're arm wrestlers. They're training. You don't just have a large woman come out of nowhere because she's larger than most other women, and you just can't move her. I mean, there are really strong, women out there. So,
Right.
wow, I don't know. I mean, shoot. So there's the one young lady out of Canada who is very. Is it Freud? Is that her name?
Freddie.
Freddie,
No,
yes.
Freddie.
Freddie. I don't know where her trajectory is going to be. Certainly, wow. I don't know. You guys stumped the panel on me there. I don't know that there's enough matchups that we've seen with women to be able to figure out what that dream matchup would be.
I think you would have to go like more European. It's like my first dream matchup. When I think of something, I go Sweden. Like I think of like Bia, and then I'm like, who else, So Bia's always in like one of my dream matches.
Well, and that brings up a good point. So, that may be the dream match, Fia versus Lori,
There
right?
you go.
I think
There you go. See, you start talking, and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds amazing.
that would be a Lori Cole in her prime versus Fia in her prime. And who's to say she's not in her prime right now? But I think that's both of them are probably very similar in weight class. And so it would probably be a dream matchup. There's just, the hardest thing for us as arm wrestlers looking at at women in terms of arm wrestling is that we have a very limited amount here in the States, and we have to really go to, the European areas to be able to fill that void. And there's so many women arm wrestlers in Europe, right? But I will say this: I think if you look at, I think the next great arm wrestling champion, and I'm going to tell you this because I think that numbers mean something. I think it's going to come out of India. I think within the next 5 years, because India has become such a growing support and value in the world of arm wrestling, I think the next genetic freak, and that's really what it comes down to, right? That the genetic makeup of somebody who finds their way to arm wrestling. I think it comes out of sheer numbers in India. Look at Devin. I mean, genetically, he's a freak, right? I mean, he's genetically made for the sport, and he found the sport. So India is my call. I don't know who that person is. They've got the Punjabi League out there, I think it's called, or and the guy out there, his name is Praveen. What is it? Panja League. Perving, right? That's a nice guy. Talked to him 3 weeks ago. The time zones were not matching up, but we got on a phone call because we're trying to get some of his athletes to come over for 2026. So the amount of arm wrestlers that they are dealing with out there, I've got to think that they're going to find that next young man or next young lady that genetically is just gifted, has that, Alan Fisher would always say, those Eastern European guys have three extra tendons in their arm. And if they x-rayed them, they'd find a steel bar. And, but look at Alan Fisher. I mean, he was a genetic marvel, right? I shouldn't say freak, but genetic marvel. I mean, who would have thought that a man with 167 pounds would have a hand that's twice the size of mine, right? And have a forearm that's twice the size of mine. And only weigh 167 pounds. He weighs 138 of them in the arm. So that's the value of genetic imperfection, right? His other arm is not the same. He doesn't have the build. He's not a bodybuilder. He doesn't have incredible clavicle span, or he doesn't have 32-inch quads. He just happens to have a genetic disposition that his hand and his forearm and that connective tissue and the speed all aligned. And he found arm wrestling, right? Alan Fisher, if he doesn't find arm wrestling, maybe, a great carpenter or a great, computer sci guy, or, just some guy clicking on the computer and never even think about the sport and know that, he puts on a shirt and, he hides away his arm because, the people in the office always comment on, like, he's self-conscious in another life. But he found the right sport. I mean, Devin found the sport. I mean, why is it that those two individuals found where they needed to be? So it's, the next person, Easton McCormick. He's 19 years old. Let's call it what it is. He's found the sport.
Yeah.
I would say, again, after watching him pull and realizing that the one downfall that he had coming to the World Series of Arm Wrestling, and even with all the pull I have out here in San Diego, I couldn't get him to a nightclub, even not to drink. That was his biggest. He was more upset that he couldn't come out with the guys, which I was upset too, because I really, I wish you could have experienced some of that. He's 19 years old. He's 19 years old. He's not. Listen, he is not PED. He is. I think he's a natural kid. At some point, with that kind of natural ability, man, that's scary, right?
Yeah.
And he's got a frame to grow into. He's taller than I am. He weighs 237. I think he weighed in at 237 for this tournament at 19. Listen, I played football for many years, and I was blessed enough that playing football taught me a lot of things. One thing it taught me, though, is that when you go to college, when you're 18 years old and you're playing against 23-year-old men, and you're an 18 or 19-year-old young man, there's a real difference, especially as a lineman, in that strength. There's a maturity factor. Even from 18 to 23, the amount of strength that you gain over the maturing muscle value is immense. So if he's natural, which I'm pretty sure he is, and he grows into his body and he has all of that upward growth for the next 4, 5 years, 6 years, that kid, he doesn't even need to have supplementation.
Nope.
There's no one touching that kid. Everybody talked about schoolboy. He's a schoolboy 2.0 with a real potential that he could easily surpass. And listen, schoolboy is still a phenom, right? He's still growing and competing from time to time and doing very well. But he is surrounded by some really quality, really feet on the ground type of individuals in that Midwest. There's not a lot of stardom. He's not in Hollywood thinking that he's on the Walk of Fame. He's got guys like Wallace Dilly. He's got the Logsdons out there, the Johnstons, the Don Underwoods, the Brent Rockers. He's got a lot of class people around him. He's got a future. Like I literally, if there was a kid who could be 239 or 209, we already know there's one out there that can win the overall in the next couple of years. He's a young man that he may be our youngest overall winner ever.
Wow.
He's that good. He's got that much potential, I think.
Yeah, you definitely want to just start following his career and see where he goes. You just really do. And regardless of whether you like his opponents or not, y'all gonna have some work. Like, y'all are gonna have to work. He is just something different.
Right.
I would say, and my battery's running low, so we're gonna have to get some final words. But let me tell you something. I don't see him losing any super matches to any of the opponents that he has lined up in the next 12 months. I don't think that he loses any one of them, and I don't think he loses a match in any one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Left
All right,
or right.
so in 12 months, we're going to see him and Ricard go at it then.
Maybe.
That'd be cool.
I'm on 5% here, ladies. I have to pop off, but
No, thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Always a pleasure. Let's try to make it more often because I really enjoy talking to you, ladies.
I agree. We need to check in more so we can push more women. We'll do it.
Awesome. All right. Have a great weekend.
See ya.
Thank you to everybody, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good.
Bye.
Bye. All right, ladies. You heard it here first. Get out to a regional qualifier, and next November 7th, literally 1 year from today, because it's November 7th now. So in 1 year from today, San Diego, the finals will happen.
Yep. Start planning your money, putting money aside. The most I have spent for a flight for the weekend, it ranges from $250 to $350. That is
South Carolina.
yes.
It's
And
literally
ladies,
across the whole nation.
and you just heard if we can get more women, then there's the opportunity to first and second women getting hotel rooms. So there you've already saved an additional, this is San Diego, you're already saving an additional $500 right there on these hotel rooms. And the Sheraton was fabulous. Okay. It was fabulous. But also give us feedback. Why? Why not WSA? Why not the World Series of Arm Wrestling that has the potential to pay us the money to one point where these men are looking at $250,000 by 2030, and we are just scratching the surface with getting over a little over 1,000, and we need overalls, so there is stuff there for us. So let's go. But let us know why or how. Just what
Let Amanda
else
know,
to
'cause
make
I
you
don't
want to do
care.
it. Yeah. What?
Let Amanda know, because I don't care.
Yeah. Just put it out there. Bye. Everybody's weighing in. I will put it to you like this: the 3 women that showed up, we were within 10 pounds of each other. 155, 165, 167. So
Ooh,
it was perfect. It was perfect
good.
dynamic. It really was. Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah, let's get some competition out there so we can get the weight classes and we can get.
I see us getting, I truly believe we could get a weight class with our women who are sitting pretty in your 200s, you strong, badass women. I genuinely think we could get a class for y'all, and y'all will show the hell out, and you will find some solid talent instead of having to pull smaller women and smaller women having to pull y'all. Let's put some equal playing field out there.
For true.
Yeah. It's a fun event. It's good food, good people. Harley Davidson shop is just gorgeous. Yeah, hey, and by the way, if you're there, they have a tattoo parlor too. If you're feeling a little frisky, and I know a lot of y'all are inked up, ladies, you can get a tattoo while you arm wrestling. So it's a great event. You should be training for it. It should be the main event that you're training for if you're looking for that money, men and eventually women. So, and I nominate Lucky for the house.
You do not want me on the house. Oh
So
man, those confessionals. I be forgetting.
I would love to be there just asking the questions. Just as
Right.
long as you ladies
Same.
don't
That's
get
what
a
I
little
want to do.
stabby stabby.
I wanna host the house and be like problematic as the host. Greg, make that happen.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I'm glad we had him on. I'm glad that WSA is going strong. I think that going into 2026 season, we're gonna see a lot. Obviously, we're gonna see a lot more qualifiers. There's a lot of good promoters on board to run those qualifiers too. Y'all are gonna go to some quality events on top of, so like even if WSA, maybe San Diego, you're like, maybe not, just go to one of the qualifiers, because like then if you decide to go, you're qualified, but you're not going to waste your time at one of the tournaments. They have really good turnouts at the tournaments. Florida had an awesome women's turnout,
Yeah.
and those matches were absolutely fire.
I saw some young talent.
Yeah,
Some amazing young talent.
it was Candy and Beth and Emma, and I don't know who the other lady was, but she was blowing through people too. I was, oh dang, who's that? And I meant to look her up, but of course it's not on Aries, but I have to ask Beth who that was. But yeah, so definitely check out the lady talent just at the qualifiers, because you might run into some people you've never gotten to pull before who are local to you that you guys can meet up and hang out with again. So.
Yeah, and you might meet that new female puller who needs to be enticed a little bit more in the World Series.
The table.
Yeah, and the World Series of Arm Wrestling tournament is still a perfect place for us amateur women. I agree. So I loved it. The event, even though again it only saved like 15 minutes, 4 tables, how they ran it, it just was so much smoother that it seemed like we finished hours ahead of schedule. So no, I enjoyed it, and oof, the Sheridan, that's a pretty nice place. I could
I
have
liked
just
it
hung out.
last year.
I could have just hung out in the lounge room the whole time. I think it was huge. I think, and what's really good, there's 2 main restaurants. There's several of them. There's 3 and then 2 and another one, that I like a little 5-minute walk connected. One stays open till midnight and one stays open till 10:30. So again, if you're catching in late, you're getting those last little weigh-ins, there's plenty of places right there in the hotel to feed you. And the food's not bad at all. But yeah, if it's still gonna be there, whew, I'm excited. I'm excited. Lovely view. Yep.
I was just
Mm-mm-mm.
thinking, I was reading Sayla's comment, and I went to California twice last year. I just thought about that. That's crazy.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really care for California, but I go. And I actually felt like my first impressions of San Diego were not the best for me, but this year was just different. And I also think I don't get a chance to sit and enjoy San Diego as much, so I really can't give it a chance. All I can say is you can't ever go wrong with Mexican food in San Diego. It's amazing. If you find a shit place because it's not real Mexican, but hands down. So, and I did like the little sushi place that was next to the sister hotel that we had. So if you didn't catch your room at the main hotel, there was another one. I forgot what the damn name is, but it's right next to a little shopping pavilion, and the sushi restaurant there is quality. very quality. But yeah. I love the little Strata place in the Sheraton. If you're somebody who has dietary restrictions, you can find your perfect healthy snacks there. Keto, carnivore, gluten free, and you're not going to break the bank on your stuff. You won't, because San Diego
That's
be expensive.
important because you're already spending a ton on the travel.
Yeah. And so, and think about it. I took second place and won $300 and won my money back. Michelle took 1,100 home and won her money plus back. So, men, everybody,
You
I
can do
mean,
it.
yeah. And let's remember this. Gregg was not supposed to pay us out. We were supposed to have 8 women for the payout. And for him to turn around going like, well, these women showed up, he's gonna, that's class act, because I still pulled knowing and believing I was not gonna get money,
Right.
So and then to get it, I mean, that's respect. I like that. I like that a lot. So, and you
I
get
love
swag bag too. It's first place. Like there's like other little goodies too. You don't just get money. You get some good deals too. You can walk away with probably another $1,000 in your goodie bag, your
Ooh,
swag bag, whatever the hell you want to call it. You know
sweet.
exactly.
Well, there you go. WSA. Make it
Yep. Yep.
happen
Yep.
if it's in
Yes.
your goals for sure.
Yep.
But we're gonna wrap up. We have a show tomorrow. Tune in. We have Brittany Hayhurst joining us. She has her very first super match coming up, and she's been in the sport for a little while and starting to not starting, I shouldn't say that, and is making some waves of her own. And so we're
Yes.
really excited to showcase her. So make sure you tune back in tomorrow night at 9, same time. And yeah, we got some other fun stuff happening. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like, message us, let us know what you want to see, who you want to see. Put some ladies on our radar, please. I have a few newer ladies that I'm in works with talking to get on the show. But yeah, just keep sending people my way. I love it. I love it when they do that, when people brag on their ladies. So
Yep.
pull
That's
smart,
great.
be strong. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
See ya.